trodden, men whose backs are against the wall. As leader of the First Cathedral, we open our arms to welcome you here today to come to give an encore to such a man of distinction, one who is noted by what Dr. Martin King said when he said, the ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. Here was a man, Quentin Williams, who drove out darkness. Though he is not here with us, the light shines. He is one of whom it was spoken of by Robert Browning, who said, make all of the strokes in life that you can and leave the rest in the hands of God. Nothing wrong with dying young as long as you join Jesus. As long as you join Martin King, John Kennedy, and the host of others who are now with the heavenly saints, welcome and be blessed.
Thank you, Archbishop Bailey. And again, welcome to the First Cathedral. Welcome to the celebration of life of our friend, our brother, a husband, a son, Representative Quentin Williams. I have a very easy task today, moving the program along. And everybody say amen. Dr. Williams shared with me the importance of making sure we celebrate Q, but she also wanted you all to know we don't have to be here all day. So, I'd love for you to take out your smartphones, your cell phones. You do not have a program, but you can go to www.rememberingq.com. There you will find the program, ways to give to many of the initiatives that we will share with you toward the end of this amazing program, but also to read a bit more about Q and who he will remain to be in our lives. And so at this time, the program will be broken into several different sections, starting with a lasting impact. And again, hear me good, speakers. You all have 1 minute, and I might give you a grace and give you another minute to say what you have to say. But I'll stand here close to the mic to ensure you all understand there's quite a few of you that will be speaking, but we're going to move right along. I would be remiss if I did not acknowledge Mother Queen. Thank you so much for giving us Q Williams. And, you know, Carissa's mom, who I am just so pleased and honored to have met, and I call her my mama now, too. Y'all give it up for her as well. At this time, we'll hear reflections from the White House. There will be a letter from President Biden, read by our Connecticut State Treasurer, Eric Russell, and also a letter from Vice President Kamala Harris, read by Auntie Anita Ford Saunders. Would you please come?
Good afternoon. So, a letter from President Joe Biden to the family of Quentin Williams. Dear Williams family, Jill and I offer our heartfelt condolences on the tragic loss of your beloved Quentin. We are keeping you in our prayers during this difficult time. Queen, I write to you as someone who understands what no parent should have to experience, losing a child. It's like losing a piece of your soul. Carissa, I also know the pain of grieving a spouse, your partner, inspiration, and world. As you think about all that Quentin meant, I hope you both take comfort in knowing that the love you had for him and the love he had for you will forever endure. Quentin is with you always. Quentin was a trailblazer and a true public servant who represented his community with pride. Whether he was working in the Connecticut State Capitol or at home serving the people of Middletown, he fought hard to do right by the people he loved. I know that Quentin's optimism and passion brought joy to so many, and that his life will always shine brightly through you and all the lives he touched. Though the grieving process never truly ends, may the love you had for Quentin be a source of strength. May you find purpose in sharing his light with others and living lives worthy of him. It will take time, but I promise you the day will come when Quentin's memory will bring a smile to your lips before it brings a tear to your eye. My prayer for you is that this day comes sooner rather than later. From a hymn based on the 91st Psalm, may he raise you up on eagle's wings and bear you on the breath of dawn. May make you to shine like the sun and hold you in the palm of his hand. May God bless Quentin Williams. With sympathy, Joe Biden.
To the family of Representative Quentin Williams, Middletown, Connecticut. Dear Williams family, please accept my deepest condolences for the tragic loss of your beloved husband and son, Quentin. I was saddened to hear the news of his passing. Quentin was an incredible public servant and passionate advocate for civil rights. As the first Black state representative for the city of Middletown, Quentin's tireless fight for a more equitable future for his community and our nation is a legacy that will continue to inspire the next generation of leaders. I am grateful for Quentin's commitment to racial justice and gender equity. It is clear that his compassionate heart and joyous spirit were gifts to those whose lives he touched, and that he will be remembered for the light he brought to this world. May the love that you shared carry through this time. Doug and I will keep your family in our thoughts and prayers. Sincerely, Kamala Harris.
Okay, so I forgot about the wiping of the mic, so I have to account for that time, okay? Let's give it up for President Biden and Vice President Harris. So do me a quick favor. If you can just look to your left and your right and tell each of those people that you look to, it's so good to see you. Oh, it took a lot out of y'all. Y'all didn't want to talk at all. At this time, we'll have a performance, I Give Myself Away, by Jordan Watson. I surrender all. Whoa, I surrender all to thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all. I give myself away. Are there any worshipers in the house? I give myself away so you can use me. I give up. I give myself away. I give myself away. We surrender, we surrender. I give myself away so you can use me. I give myself away. I give myself away so you can use me. And I love this part. It just says this: my life is not my own. To you I belong. I give myself to you. Somebody needs to make that rededication even right now. My life is not my own. To you I belong. I give myself to you. Come on, let's lift this up all around the house. Yeah, my life is not my own. To you I belong. I give myself to you. Yeah, my life is not my own. God, to you I belong. I give myself to you. I give myself away. That's my heart's posture. I give myself away so you can use me. You are the potter, I am the clay. Make me and mold me every single way. You are the potter, I am the clay. Make me and mold me every single way. Let's give him another round of applause. We're going to continue with our reflections. We're going to head down to Middletown, and we're going to hear from Oddfellows Playhouse under the direction of Executive Artistic Director Dick Wheeler.
Good afternoon. We all miss Q. I think for most of us, he has left a big hole. For others, Carissa, his mom, his closest friends, it must be a chasm that I can't even imagine. Quentin was a tireless champion for the children of Middletown and a lifelong Oddfellow. As a child involved in Playhouse programs, a longtime board member, a friend, an enthusiastic and impactful supporter of Oddfellows' work while serving in the State House. And when I say Oddfellow, I mean it in the best sense. Unique, creative, compassionate, one who doesn't fit into any simple mold. Anyone who knew Q, even briefly, will remember his positive spirit, his authentic, beautiful smile, his commitment to making the world a better place. Q delivered. He delivered for his friends. He delivered for his constituents. He delivered for his family. He delivered for his community. In the summer of 2018, when I'd first returned to Oddfellows after years away, we did a Love Oddfellows Day, asking supporters and friends to come and help us clean up a place that had gotten kind of full of stuff. It was a long, grubby, sweaty day. Both Q and Carissa came. And several local politicians and candidates came and lent a hand for a minute or shook hands. But Q came early. He stayed all day. He lifted probably thousands of pounds of platforms, lighting instruments, and all kinds of stuff. And whatever else was needed, and he smiled and laughed through the whole thing, and he brought donuts. He delivered. In the summer of 2021, we were trying to get the Children's Circus, our summer program, off the ground during COVID. We needed desperately to find a lot of COVID tests. I reached out all over, the United Way, the Department of Health, all over the place. And finally, I picked up the phone and talked to Q. 2 hours later, he called me back and was like, we got 300 tests, will be delivered this afternoon. He delivered. If you needed him, he was there. And since I've been back at Oddfellows, Q always called me director. Not because he didn't remember my name, but out of respect. Respect, service, leadership. All with an amazing sense of joy on the journey. And right now, my heart goes out to the loving family that Q left behind, who have to find a way in themselves to move forward without him. That is hard. Q is going to be fine. I'm not worried about him. Whatever your beliefs about the afterlife, he's going to do fine. He's somewhere now, shaking hands, flashing smiles, wearing bright and gaudy but somehow classy attire, and asking what he can do to help. He's making someplace a better place to be. Thanks, Q, for making our place a better place to be.
This time we're going to have a series of reflections, video tributes throughout the afternoon, and at this time there will be a video tribute on behalf of the Community Health Center.
I am Representative Q Williams, born and raised right here in Middletown, Connecticut. Matter of fact, my godmother, who helped raise me, lived right here on Liberty Street, walking distance from here. But I remember Cross Street Amy Zion Church. When we say good morning or good afternoon, we have to make sure that folks say it back so that we are all in the spirit and room together. So we're gonna try that one more time. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you. That's the way we have a good Middletown welcome.
Seven seeds are left behind, many places in my mind. I'm free to fly like a bird in the sky. I'm free to choose direction forward.
So welcome everyone, so glad to see everyone here in downtown Middletown. And especially right here at the Community Health Center, which has been a tremendous asset for many of us. And I do say us, for myself and for my family. And be safe out there and find more information at www.cdc.gov. And also send us your elbow shake. Let's see what you got.
All right. That so often we think about all the restriction that we don't have this, or this is a challenge, or we don't have this particular resource. But I think you have all really taken that head on and saying that we have the most valuable resource, which is our people.
You must have a lot of fun in your job. Because I'm having fun. I hope you're having as much fun as I'm having.
Still those pictures in my mind.
When we talk about that, whether or not you have the ability to afford and pay for your healthcare and wellness should not be a direct indicator on the quality of care that you get. I thought that was a normal thing that all of us just understood, but that is something that is unique to Middletown and greater in the state of Connecticut, and because of the role that CHC has had.
Please let me
All right, I'll keep myself together. Now, if you knew Q, which all of you knew Q, you knew there were many facets to his advocacy. One of them was being a champion for education. And at this time, we'd like to hear some reflections from Stanford Excellence. And I always tease Senator Pat Billy Miller because Q always said, I need to get that money. I need to get that money. But you knew deep down inside, it wasn't a vain request. It was really a request on behalf of so many young children that look just like him and others. So at this time, I'll just read your names, and if you can come up in this order. Stephanie Smith, former Stanford Excellence Association president. Jaden Smith, Stanford Excellence Scholar, 5th grader. And Daniela Carreras, thank you, Stanford Excellence Scholar, 8th grader. Can you give our scholars a round of applause?
Good afternoon, everyone. So my husband told me not to do this joke, but this gentleman from Goodfellow opened it up. So for comfort in all of this, I often think of Q getting to heaven and being put in all white, and the fit he would throw that he is all in white. I just imagine him telling God that, you know what, I need a different color shirt, I need a different colored tie. Vibrant colors, vibrant patterns. So thank you for opening that avenue up, because my husband told me not to say it, but I couldn't resist. He's definitely up there, not in all white, but definitely himself. So the Church of God Child and me would like to greet the pastors, the leaders of this church. Thank you so much for having us. And also my condolences to the family, to Carissa and Mama Queen. Thank you so much for having us. Since January 5th, I've seen many news broadcasts, articles, and social media postings regarding Quentin Williams. They all primarily focused on his role as a state representative and his work in that field. What most of these stories missed was a major part of Quentin's life. I thank Mrs. Williams for allowing us here today on behalf of the entire Stanford Charter School of Excellence community to shed light on a man that we loved and simply knew as our beloved Mr. Q. Mr. Q started his career at Stanford Excellence back in June of 2014 as a community relations manager. He was later promoted to a position of the Director of Advocacy and Policy. I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Q in August of 2016 when my son first enrolled in Stanford Excellence. Mr. Q was one of the first people you would meet at the school, as he facilitated what we called family chats, which was an orientation to the school. We quickly developed a great working relationship as he recruited parents to join the Parent Association, and through his insistence, I served alongside of him for many years through various roles at the Parent Association. Through our work together, we quickly developed a friendship, and on most occasions, you would find us bickering or cracking jokes like brothers and sisters. Together with many parents, Mr. Q facilitated meetings, trainings, outreach, and advocacy work for the betterment and the growth of Stanford Excellence community. Throughout his work days, Mr. Q's loud voice and contagious laugh could be heard through the classrooms, the hallways, the gym, and the playgrounds of the school, right alongside with all the other scholars. Mr. Q took his time to get to know them along with their needs, not only as an administrator, but also as their respected friend. Everyone who truly knew Mr. Q knew how important the scholars of Stanford Excellence were to him. His goal over the past 8 years was very evident: to have our scholars provided with the educational opportunities as the best that was available in the state of Connecticut. His biggest goal was to ensure that Stanford Excellence was fully funded from pre-K to 8th grade. After years of advocacy work, this came to fruition in July of 2020. This June, the first graduating class of 8th graders will be walking across the stage. It completely breaks our hearts that our beloved Mr. Q won't be there to see the product of his hard work. The scholars that he loves so much hitting a major milestone that he worked so hard to facilitate. Mr. Q taught us to be true advocates for our children. One thing was for certain: if he called us for a favor or a request, you could always guarantee that a scholar, a family, or a community would be better off for it. He often reminded us that as parents, we were the experts on our children. So who better than us than to advocate on their behalf? Honestly, he was. He would never admit it and is probably rolling his eyes that I'm standing here before you saying this. But instead, he spent his time helping us to find our voices as parents. Through him, we learned the words, we gained the courage, we got the confidence to stand tall on behalf of our children and on behalf of our school. Even when we lost motivation and found a task to be too redundant or unbearable, Mr. Q was never too far behind us to help keep us motivated and to cheer us on. Mr. Q's love for our children was unmatched. He believed in them like no one else could. One thing he would agree on is that his scholars were able and capable of speaking up for themselves. So with that being said, I introduce to you two of his scholars who knew him and loved him just the same: Jaden Smith, a 5th grader, and Daniela Carreras, an 8th grader.
Good afternoon. Mr. Q was a cool, fun guy. He was never too serious and loved to have fun. He worked really hard in general and also to get my school, SESC, to a middle school. It's very sad he didn't get to see me graduate, but God took him up for a reason we all wish he didn't. I used to get in trouble a lot, but he would give me a talk and speak to my mom and tell her not to get mad at me because he was similar to me when I was younger. He used to call me mayor and president and say someday he'll work for me. That made me work so much harder. During parent association meetings, he would play basketball with me, and we would always get in trouble by my mom for playing in our dress shoes. He would remind my mom that people like us need to lose some energy before sitting for a long time. I will always miss you, Mr. Q. I'm sad you had to leave us. I'm sad you won't be around to work for me, but I hope whatever I do, I'll make you proud, and I'll see you up in the sky someday.
Good afternoon. My name is Daniela Crias. I am an 8th grader at the Stanford Charter School for Excellence. I'm here today to share my memories and express my deepest condolences. I want to start by acknowledging that Mr. Q was the sweetest person ever. He welcomed anyone with open arms and a huge smile on his face. I will never forget the day we helped the school with the food drive, and I was there to help Mr. Q pack and load everything and take it to the elderly home. I feel like we've accomplished a lot together. After every school meeting, I would see Mr. Q in the halls, and he would challenge me to a karate match. Every day at recess, we would bother him asking if he knew our names, since there's so many scholars and people he has seen. Of course, he knew each of our names. We wanted to see what his plans were for the future. Mr. Q truly helped everyone around him as much as he could. He was there for you. I am so sorry for this tragedy and would never have imagined this. He has helped our school so much and lifted our opportunities as scholar. Because of Mr. Q advocacy and enlisting the parent support, we now have a middle school where the first of our scholars are now graduating. Mr. Q encouraged us to reach the best of our limits. Mr. Q was the best person and will always be in our hearts. My deep apologies cannot be expressed in words. I am so sorry and I am truly hurt. We care so much for him and his family. I wish the best for his family. Mr. Q may not be here in the physical state, but his spirit will be here, especially on the day of our 8th grade graduation. I thank him for everything he has done for our family and our school. I hope he rests well in your peace. Thank you for all the memories you have given us. You will never leave our hearts. May God give to you and all whom you love his comfort and his peace, his light and his joy in this world and in the next, and the blessing of God, Almighty, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit be upon you and remain with you this day and forever. Amen. We love you, Mr. Q.
So as you all remember Mr. Q, I ask that you remember him as to who he was for Jaden, who he was for Daniela, who he was for the many scholars, the families, the administration, and the staff at Stanford Excellence. As you remember him, remember the part of his legacy will continue to live on at the Little Red Building on the corner of Schuyler Avenue, and that in June 2023, that legacy will go out to many different high schools and throughout the state and would become future leaders throughout the world just like he was. All because Mr. Q believed in a vision, he believed in a school, and most importantly, he believed in them. That's a legacy that will live on forever. Rest in peace, my friend, and thank you again, Ms. Williams, for this opportunity.
Can you all stand to your feet and give all of our scholars a round of applause, and also Miss Smith? So amazing. This time we're going to have a performance. It's called Brother Q by Noah Behrman. Did I say that right? Behrman? It's Noah? Perfect. Come on, let's give him another round of applause. At this time, we're going to have reflections from Emerge, Senator May Flexer, Executive Director, Emerge, Connecticut.
Good afternoon. Thank you, first and foremost, to First Cathedral for having us here today to honor our friend. My name is May Flexer, and I am the Executive Director of Emerge Connecticut. And at this time, I'd like to ask any Emerge alums and our cabinet volunteers whose hearts can handle it in this moment, who are here to come forward and join me on stage. Emerge is an organization that recruits, trains, and mentors Democratic women to run for office. Our organization had no greater champion than Representative Quentin Williams. We would like to express our deepest sympathy to Representative Williams' wife, Dr. Carissa Williams, and his mother, Queen Williams, as you both experience this unimaginable grief and loss. We are here with you and will be with you for the long road ahead. Please know that a person has never seen more pride than when you watched Q talk about the two of you. In talking with friends and colleagues in recent weeks, we've all marveled at how Q meant so much to so many. I have been lucky to call Q my friend for close to 2 decades. I have watched him lead in so many arenas, often as the only in a space. His enthusiasm was contagious, and he became a fast friend to many of us. It's hard to put into words how unique Q was. There will truly never be another like him. And in our grief, some of us have wondered how to honor Quentin, how to keep a piece of him with us and continue his legacy. How can we try to be better by being more like him? By being more welcoming to others? By fighting for real equity and opportunity in housing? By speaking truth to power? By strengthening the rights of workers? By demanding real justice for communities that are always left behind? By never missing an opportunity to travel? By rebuilding our main streets? And by always fully embracing the opportunity to laugh. No man recruited more Democratic women for our Emerge training program than Q. He encouraged dozens of women to apply for Emerge. Every few months, I'd get a call from Q telling me about an amazing woman I needed to get into our training class. His commitment to build power for women was unmatched. And he was one of the few people who identified as a man that we welcomed into our training space. Today, as we come together to mourn, we encourage all community leaders, especially those in public office, to support women, and especially women of color. Q had a unique understanding of the power that he had. He used it beautifully to bring people together and build others up. You can see this dedication in his home city of Middletown. Time after time, Q stood by women leaders, even when it wasn't the politically smartest thing for him to do. But Q was the rare politician who did what he thought was right and worked his way through the consequences of that. And as a result, in his community and across our state, women have stepped up and are serving. Leaders like Councilor Jeanette Blackwell, the first Black woman to serve on the Common Council, Pat Alston, Middletown's brand new Registrar of Voters, Kai Belton, the Democratic nominee for the 100th District State Representative seat, and so many more. Q believed the best thing we could do was build a bench of Democratic women who are ready to serve. So as we move forward today, and figure out how to live with our grief, we will all find ways to honor Quentin's legacy. And I personally ask that you consider two options. Do everything you can to be here for each other as we all grieve in our own ways and in our own time. Be there especially for Carissa and Queen, these two amazing women who inspired and strengthened Q's commitment to women's leadership. Don't forget about them after we leave today. Be there for the grief that will change but will last a lifetime. And build up women in your community, especially Black women and all women of color. Stand with them when it's hard, like Q did. Encourage them to run for office even after they say no 8 times. Send them to our training and family at Emerge. Push them when no one else is. If you're elected yourself, work to make sure the person who comes after you is a woman of color. Change your community and build structures to make that happen. Strategize and use your political capital to lift up women and put them in power. Emerge Connecticut is deeply honored to have had Representative Williams as our champion. We will work each and every day to honor his legacy and make him proud. I am so lucky to have had this dear friend in my life. May God bless Q, the entire Williams family, and all those who mourn his loss. We love you, Buck. Thank you.
Emerge one more time. So we'll continue with our reflections, but before we do that, I want all of our elected officials in any capacity, just stand to your feet, please. You may not get the mic, but we want you stand to your feet, please. Board of Education, mayor, elected, there you go. There you go. You may be seated. So we'll have a video, a speaker, a video, speaker. Y'all with me? All right. So there will be a video played, and then shortly after that, we will hear from our Lieutenant Governor, Susan Bysiewicz.
Representative Williams, you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise for a point of...
You may
personal
proceed, sir.
privilege. So first, I want to say thank you just for that quick recognition of my new name. I think folks don't realize often how powerful...
1 second, please. I'd ask the chamber for its attention. Representative, you may proceed.
I think sometimes folks don't recognize how powerful something as simple as a name can be. And when you can hear your name and it doesn't quite fit, to be frank, it's wrong, how hard that can be. So in order to help be in the spirit of transparency, which is something that I truly value, and just to help eliminate any confusion, I will be changing my legal name, my last name, in the near future as soon as possible, probably in the next month or so, in order to recognize my real name, which is to honor the parent who really took care of me, and particularly as the new housing chair, recognizing how important the idea of one's house or one's home is. The person who did that was my mother, Queen Williams. So starting immediately on the social part, I would ask that we recognize the new name, Quentin Williams, or y'all probably still gonna call me Q anyway, but that last name is really important, and that legal change will be happening as soon as possible. So I think everyone who has already sent texts and calls to send congratulations and welcome, and I want to, from the sincerest part of my heart, say thank you to all of them, and then also to send the spirit of camaraderie to all of those in the community who know that their name is not right and know that it needs to be changed in order so they can be who they truly are.
Good afternoon. The day before Q died, I finished reading Michelle Obama's book, The Light We Carry. On a good day, after we've had our coffee, most of us are 50-watt light bulbs. But Q was 1,000 watts. He was incandescent. He would light up a room. He would light up the legislature. His light was the joy that he took in serving others and in public service. And his light came from a couple of places. First, it came from the two amazing women in his life. Ms. Queen Williams, he was so proud of you, how hard you worked, the 16-hour days you put in, the sacrifices you made to make him the amazing man that he grew up to be. And as one of our friends, Sasha Armstrong, said, he was the son every black woman wanted to have. And Dr. Carissa, he was so proud of you. He always used your title in speaking of you. And he was so proud that you were his partner in politics and in life, and so proud of all the work that you do every day to help others and to help his constituents. And his light came from these amazing women, and he was such a proponent of the belief that if you uplift women, you uplift families, you uplift communities. And that was what he took to everything that he did in the legislature. The second thing that inspired Q and was his light was the fact that he knew he was a role model. And he was so proud of that. He was proud to be the first black legislator elected from the 100th district, the district I had the pleasure of serving. He knew that young people were watching him. They were listening to everything he said, and they were watching what he did. And that's why he loved visiting schools. And if you ever saw him at Middletown High School speaking to students, he was 2 feet off the ground because he was so proud to be there to show those students that they could be a legislator or a congressman or president someday too, just like him. So I think there's two things that all of us, no matter who we are, can do to honor Q's light and his legacy, because he's expecting it. And the first is to encourage women to run. Ask them. And has been said, you need to ask multiple times. And it's amazing, since his death, how many people have said that he recruited them to serve on a Democratic town committee, to be part of Young Democrats, to run for council, to run for whatever. And as you can see from the young man who spoke from Stanford, he started early. He wanted good people to run to continue this work. So to our elected friends, make sure you have young people on your campaigns. Make sure you have interns working in your office. And if you're not in politics, make sure that you have young people that you are mentoring, because they're watching, they're depending on you for advice and for opportunity, because that is our future And that is Q's legacy, and his legacy is in each of us if we continue to live his legacy, which is opportunity and equality for everyone in our beautiful state. Q, we love you, we miss you.
All right. So good evening, everyone. I am so glad that everyone can join us. I am State Representative Q Williams, and this is, I think, my first public engagement, at least directly for the Middletown community, with my new last name. So same state rep, different name. I put on my blue suit and usually the red tie and the fancy pen and the pocket square. So usually I wear the state rep pen, so once again that I'm a state rep. And as the first Black state representative in Middletown's history, I take that with great pride. I take great pride just being a representative in general. As someone that has been in student government since 6th grade, the idea of being in elected office is something that I truly feel is a calling.
We all recognize that democracy brings us all together. Participation and being active in our democratic process is how we all know that we care about one another and that we could care about our communities.
We have normalized our trauma. We have normalized the trauma and pain of people of color over and over and over again.
Just if we took a holistic approach and for what our communities are suffering through, if we had it just a little bit different like other folks, how different would things be? That's what equity is about.
Come on in, my friend. Good morning. My name is Dial. Come on in, Dial. Q.
Today's topic is one of my favorite things to talk about, which is youth empowerment. Biologically, I'm an only child, but love makes a family. And my mom helped take care of what I would call my brothers now. And having that safe home was a very, I think, important foundation for me to become the leader that I am. So it's always a blessing to really be able to talk about housing and education and all the intersectionality that goes with that. The many callings that are in my heart, a calling as an educator, a calling as an organizer, a calling as an elected official. You have to meet folks where they are. But I appreciate the time that I've been given today, and I said, and I really, what this really is not just it's not a call for just concern. It's not a call for just compassion. It really is a call to action. I'm going to need this room because I can see that there are numerous powerful people in this room to be able to give power to say, I know you can make the right decisions. I know we can get rid of exclusionary zoning. I know we can expand the housing authorities. I know we can do the rent commissions. I know we can put more money in for developing housing. I know you can do it. That's why we sent you up there. You have been this powerful and this strong. You came to this dinner and had really good chicken and salmon with us today. And now I need you to make the hard votes. I'm calling on you to, when they say that they've heard, the folks that say all the reasons that say but, I need you all to be the reasons that remind them about what the real consequences are. And I'm asking you all, I'm asking all of us to choose to listen, to choose to love, to choose to believe. I feel thrilled each and every day to be serving you all and serving with you and for you each and every day. And so it's been one of the greatest honors of my life.
Wow. We would we would sit in the chamber, and Q sat right behind me, and thank God for masks, because the things we would talk about, we didn't want anybody to see our lips moving. We didn't care if they heard us, but we didn't want. The cameras were watching. But one day, I remember one of the most serious conversations we were having about equity. And he said, yo, B, they're not ready for me because I am all over this. This is me and my pocket square. I'm on it. And what you saw is what you got. A trooper, a fighter. At this time, we're going to invite Representative Kate Farrar to come and represent the Connecticut House of Representatives. We'll also have State Representative, or excuse me, that's her former title, State Senator and Chairwoman of the Black and Puerto Rican Caucus to come as well. And Madam, you can come to the mic and speak right after Representative Kate. Give them a round of applause.
Good afternoon, friends. I personally want to thank Dr. Carissa Williams and Queen Williams for sharing Q with all of us. Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley, the first Black woman to serve in the Massachusetts Congress, often says that policy is her love language. And as a state representative, I saw firsthand that Q's policymaking was truly love in action. It was a lot of compassion mixed with tons of justice and a whole lot of unbridled energy bursting at the seams of those tight suits that we all saw. As the first Black state representative from Middletown, Q was sworn in for his third term just over 3 weeks ago. But in those short 4 years, Q was already a leader with a legacy. As chair of the Aging Committee, Q protected seniors by holding long-term care facilities accountable. As one of the founders of the Main Street Working Group, Q advocated for policies that supported local downtown small businesses, including his beloved Middletown. As chair of the Housing Committee, he successfully fought for cities and towns to have fair rent commissions to protect tenants from unfair housing practices. And finally, as labor chair, he planned to prioritize legislation to require predictable scheduling for low-wage workers, primarily women of color, across our state. Q isn't done. We aren't done. Q knew that he couldn't make change alone. He was proud of what he did, but also of what others did and what we could do. Amongst my legislative family, he was my biggest cheerleader, constantly reminding me that I wasn't alone. Like many of us over the past 3 weeks, I've reviewed every single text message that I have from Q to bring him back and hear his voice again in my head, even if just for a brief moment. As I read through every one of them, I cried. But one particular text message makes me laugh out loud whenever I read it. Because Q wrote, "You're in beast mode, exclamation point. I see you. That's Black Gen Y man for good job and keep up the good work." Love you, sis. There are hundreds more messages just like that, which so many of us have memorialized. Q isn't done. We aren't done. Because for Q, we will do everything in our power to ensure that Black Lives Matter and take action against police brutality in our communities. Because for Q, we will keep elevating women, especially the voices of women of color. And for Q, we will keep making clear that poverty and inequality is a policy choice, and it's a bad policy choice at that. So we will keep fighting for housing as the human right that it is. We will fight for a great education for every kid, no matter where they live in our state. And we will take action to fix our unfair tax system where our working people subsidize the wealthiest. Q isn't done. We aren't done. Q's unapologetic love transformed us as individuals and is boldly imprinted on the laws of our state. Now it's on us to not let up until we build the more equitable world that Q imagined. I miss you, Q. We miss you. I know that your love and your light will continue to guide all of us for the rest of our lives. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Senator Pat Billy Miller, and on behalf of the Black and Puerto Rican Caucus, as their chair, I offer my condolences and love to Carissa and Mama Queen. Mama Queen, I have to say to you that you named your son Soldier. I never knew that was his middle name. And in the Old Testament in the Bible, a parent would give the child a name to reflect what they anticipate their mission or their life was going to be. You knew that he was going to be God's soldier here on earth. And that's what he was. He fought for what was right. He fought for children. He fought for women. And he even fought for me. I called Q and said, Q, I want to run for the chair of the Black and Puerto Rican Caucus, and he was silent for a minute. And then Q said, Senator, what do you want me to do? I said, well, Q, you're my strategist. So he told me what to do, and I said, Q, I'm not doing that. He said, how are you going to call me a strategist and you're not going to do what I told you to do? But Q will call me and say, hey, Senator, how you doing? I'm just checking on you to make sure you're okay. You need anything? That's who Q was. I heard the word love to describe Q. In the Bible that Q and I read, it says, Jesus said, love thy neighbor as you love thyself. And that's who Q was. He was love. I think Q will wake up every day and say, who can I love today? Q was about empowering people and making them to be the best who they could be. This school over here, these students, Q and I were told that it wasn't going to happen. Q called them scholars, and they are a top performing school in Connecticut. I recently learned that it's Q's dream that they be named the Blue Ribbon School. That's going to be my charge now. That's going to be my charge. Now, we heard about all the good things Q's done, but Q didn't have a problem pushing back. Q would call me and say, Senator, you know, it's your responsibility to do so and so and so. I said, Q, I'm not doing that. He says, but Senator, you are the lead, and it's your responsibility to make sure that so and so will happen. You have to take a stand, because once you take a stand, I said, Q, calm down. But that's who Q was. If he was passionate about something, he would fight for it until the bitter end. And he would try to convince you of what was right. And so Q was the person. For me anyway, and I can't speak for anyone else, but I'm older than Q, but Q taught me a lot. He taught me how to stand up for what's right. And I've done that, but he made me look deeper. To say that you have to take a stand, because sometimes as politicians, we like to sit on the fence. Q taught me there are certain things that I can't sit on the fence for. Because as the leader and as the black leader, that I had a responsibility to take a stand on certain things. And so I didn't tell him that. But Q, no, because Q would say, I told you. No, he wouldn't do that. No, but I did have to call him and apologize about something. The situation regarding the strategist. I said, Q, you were right. I'm sorry. And you know what Q did? He says, that's okay, Senator. I understand. So what are we going to do about it now? But I have to thank God, Mama Queen, for allowing Q to be in my life, because Q really taught me what it meant to love. Q was about empowering people. He told me about the young people that he mentored. And it was about making individuals better, making these students know that they are someone, that they can be anything that they want to be. He called them scholars. Excuse me, he called you scholars. He did not call you students. And he always spoke what he needed for you in existence. And I'm so proud of you. I can't wait until the 8th grade, until you guys graduate. Q called me and said, Daniela, he says, Senator, I was representative then. He never called you by name. He always respected you and called you by title. He says, we have some food and we want to give it to the seniors. What can we do? What can we do? I said, well, I have some seniors, Q, that really need food. And this was during COVID. Q and his team, Daniela, they came down and they brought seniors pounds, hundreds of pounds of food during COVID. That's who Q was, because he wanted to teach them how to give back. That's who Q was. Q was always trying to make life better for other individuals. And you know, when I looked at all of his accomplishments, 39 years old, and I heard he's done more at 39 than a lot of us have done in a lifetime. Q has left us a legacy that we can't forget. And so let's not look at how he left us. Let's look at how he lived. Let that be our legacy. So I want to thank you all for being here today, because I know he's looking from heaven. I wish y'all would stop all of that. But Q, he was so humble. But I am so blessed to have him as a part of my journey. And again, Carissa and Mama Queen, thank you for sharing him with us, because I know you've heard that over and over again. But he worked for us tirelessly. And so I want to thank you. I have to leave with this note to our treasurer. When you were running, he called me and said, Senator, I have this great young man. You have to support him. I think he will be really, really good. But when he believed in someone, he worked for you, and he worked hard. And so I want to thank you, because I know he convinced you, right? He convinced you to run. That's who Q was. But I want to thank you for taking the charge and being the person that he knew that you would be, and filling that seat. So again, thank you all for being here, because this is a testament of who Q was. So thank you all, and God bless you.
Representative Quentin Q. Williams is a special part of our legislative family and always will be. Although words cannot express the deep loss that we feel and will always feel, we hope that these words that we share will honor him and his light and love that he brought to all of us.
I'll remember Q as a teacher and a mentor.
Representative Q was very energetic, he was very helpful, and he was very insightful. A wonderful man.
The word I would use to best describe Q is charismatic.
Positive, happy, always willing to help.
Bold, compassionate, generous.
Q is irreplaceable.
One word for Q would be happiness.
Unique, blurred, black nerd. It's clever, right? And joyful. legendary, symbolic, courageous.
Unfashionable, brilliant, and caring.
Joy on legs. Inspiring.
When it comes to Q, the word I'd use is classy.
Hero, courage, friend.
Joyful, grounded, and bold.
Ecumenical, congenial, natural born leader.
Passionate, authentic, and righteous. Intergenerational, mutual admiration.
Paix à toi, mon ami.
Quentin was one of the most kind, compassionate, and caring human beings, and just an exemplary legislator.
Exuberance and charismatic. Strength and presence.
Quick, quirky, and quintessential.
Q loved us, and he let us love him.
Bigger than life.
He was my friend, he was my mentor, and God, he made me laugh.
Thoughtful.
I love you, sister. Rooting for you. Light personified.
Brotherhood.
Absolutely vivacious personality. Energy, exuberance, elevating.
Joyful warrior.
It's all true.
General Assembly. At this time, I'm going to call up a really dear friend, a sister, Devonna. She's going to come up and read a citation on behalf or from Senator Anthony Hardy Williams.
Condolences. May God wrap his loving arms around you and your family during this time of bereavement. Connecticut State Representative Quentin Soldier Williams. Whereas the state of Pennsylvania mourns the loss of State Representative Quentin Q. Soldier Williams, who passed away on January 5th, 2023 at the age of 39, and whereas Connecticut State Representative Quentin Soldier Williams, beloved son of Queen Esther Williams, was born in Hartford, Connecticut, and was a lifelong resident of Middletown, Connecticut. Q, as he was affectionately called, was educated in the public school system and earned a bachelor's in business administration from Bryant University and later earned a Master of Public Administration from Villanova University. And whereas during his life, Q was encouraged by his mother to keep 3 things key: treat people the way you want to be treated, be honest, and put God first. He exemplified those values throughout his life, especially during his professional and public life. He was a man of deep faith, which he used to guide him in many areas of his life. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the State Senate of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania note with great sadness the passing of Connecticut State Representative Quentin Soldier Williams, whose life greatly benefited all those who lived, served, and worked with him, and extend heartfelt condolences to his wife, Carissa, his mother, Queen Esther Williams, and many other family members and friends. And be it further resolved that a copy of this document, sponsored by Senator Anthony Hardy Williams, be transmitted to the family of Connecticut State Representative Quentin Soldier Williams.
Hi, my name is Libby Rosenbaum, and I'm the CEO of the American Council of Young Political Leaders, or ACYPL. Q has been a member of ACYPL since 2016, when he traveled with us on an international exchange for young elected and political leaders under 40. On that exchange in 2016, we sent him to Russia, and I'll never forget meeting him in DC. All of the entire delegation comes to DC before they depart, and we had a casual dinner the night before. They were to be briefed by the State Department and the Russian embassy, and Q was just so excited, and he told me about growing up, having friends that were Polish and Russian and learning the language, and he had just been so passionate about this specific opportunity to go to Russia that it really stuck with me. Obviously, he was a great person to have dinner with anyway, so we definitely struck up a bit of a friendship. But he went on that trip and he came back and he was just, all in. And he called me and he said, Libby, there's so many people in Connecticut that I want to go through this program and have this opportunity. And true to his word, he nominated 32 other people for the opportunity. Just for a little bit of reference, typically when someone comes back from a trip and they're excited, they nominate like 1 or 2 people. But no, Q had 32 people in mind. But that's who he was. He took everyone with him on his back. And he just became such a champion for our work. And he connected me with Ty, which I will be forever grateful for. And he just, he made an investment in us the same way we had invested in him. And on a personal level, Q is just a great friend and a thoughtful friend. He would reach out to me every year on Yom Kippur and say, easy fast, which if you know anything about Judaism and Yom Kippur, that's about the nicest thing you can say. And he went out of his way to tell me when big things, important things were happening in his life. When he was invited to pledge, he was bursting with pride and excitement. And just like everything with Q, it was infectious to see and to hear him talk about it. He also went out of his way to share the name change announcement that he had made on the House floor and how important it was to him. And I immediately dubbed him Q-Dub. I don't know if that actually stuck, but in my head, that's kind of how I thought of him from then on. And so we have my organization, ACYPL, has thousands of members across the world, thousands of members in the US alone. But there's a reason that I'm honored to be here and to be able to share this message, because Q was special. And he was special as a person, and he was special as a force, and he was a special individual. So I just wanted to say, Q, I'll miss you so much. And I know we all do. And thank you to Carissa and Queen and Ty for letting me have this opportunity to say, if we can send a lot more Qs out in the world to represent us as a country, then I think we'll be doing a good job. Thank you.
All right, so we're at the last segment of today's memorial, and if you are paying attention, you notice a theme. It's a call to action, to do more, and to really live out all of the causes that Q fought for. At this time, we're going to have reflections from a representative from Bryant University. There you go.
Good afternoon. My name is Brian Levin, and I'm here on behalf of Bryant University to remember my dear friend Q. I'm honored to share reflections of his time at Bryant, and even some of Q's own words reflecting on his time at Bryant. Q was a leader from the day he walked onto campus in 2001, and by the time he had graduated in 2005, both he and the university had forever changed for the better. For the university, he helped lead through one of the most evolutionary times, the transition from Bryant College to Bryant University. For Q, it helped define the leader he would become. Q shared this about his time at Bryant in his graduation reflection. In Q's own words, he wrote, "Being at Bryant has been a giant expedition in discovering ways to serve. I am appreciative that the Bryant community has given me the opportunity to excel, mature, and have fun. Bryant University, or dare I say Bryant College," he wrote, "was a chance to start completely over. It can easily be argued that I went from a self-proclaimed, reserved, above-average athletic pessimist to the young man that we all know Q now to be. Little did I know," Q wrote, "when I entered Bryant, I could change my name, at least modify the spelling. However, looking back at the experience, I think a natural progression from Quinton to Q mirrored the growth of our institution. Yes, peculiar name replacement occurred. Nevertheless, it more accurately reflected our true essence. The name is an achievement and a goal. It's a reminder of who we were, who we have grown to be, and who we aspire to be, Q wrote. It didn't occur to me at the time, and only on reflecting on this recently, but it's almost as if both Bryant and Q had both changed and chartered a new course, symbolized the evolution and their name changes. Perhaps, though, this is unsurprising, as the early days of Q's political ambitions and community advocacy can be traced back to Bryant University, and I learned to the 6th grade long before that. Along with his work as a residential leader at Bryant and his involvement at as a multicultural student union member. When Q graduated Bryant, he was president of the Sunit Senate in 2005, and he won the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Leadership Award. He led one of the most diverse and impactful Senates in Bryant's history. He also mentored me to become president the following year, a consequential decision in my life for which I owe Q a debt of gratitude. Q, it was an honor to follow in your footsteps at Bryant, and even more to see you build on those humble beginnings to a life of political service and community advocacy. To hear the way your colleagues speak of your energy, optimism, and advocacy takes me back to those days of your mentorship and friendship. We were just young people trying to make a difference. We remember your smile, your commitment, your kindness, and your energy. Your loss is our loss, but your impact lives on in so many for always. And to help assure that impact continues, I'm here to share that Bryant University has designated a full tuition scholarship in Q's name for an incoming student This scholarship will be for an incoming student who best exemplifies the qualities and character that Q exemplified. With this, Q, we will continue to honor your memory. We will invest in future leaders in your image. Q, rest in power and in peace, my friend. I loved you.
Now, this is a Q moment. Q would have said, you can't upstage the brothers and give him money. So I don't know how much your scholarship is, but I think, Aaron, we got to raise a little bit more money. But at this time, I'd like to do something that is not on the program, and we're closing. And Bishop, thank you so much for this opportunity on behalf of the family to host today's celebration. I want to call to the podium and to stand with the brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha, our PC brothers. If you can come up, y'all move. He always wanted y'all to pledge one day, but y'all come on. And I want the members of, or the brothers of Alpha Phi Alpha to come as well, and please stand. As the president of the Beta Sigma Lambda Educational Foundation, and also to our president, Brother Tyron V. Harris, who's in the booth. Y'all give it up for Tyron. He's in the booth working. We wanted to share with each and every one of you, or rather highlight our foundation. Q served as a member of our board, and as you've heard throughout the afternoon, all of the great work that supported young people. And so as we continue to live and do what Q would want us to do, we are also establishing a scholarship in Q's honor. It's the BSL Brother Quinton Soldier Williams Memorial Scholarship Public Policy Initiative, and We're going to talk a little bit about that as well. But we're so honored to be able to provide just resources to help young people, women of color, to continue the work that he started. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Brother Aaron Knight, who is going to share a little bit about Derby. I ain't never met a black man so interested in Derby. Quentin, Q, I'm sorry, I got to say this. So for those of you who are in Greekdom, and that is a part of the Divine Nine, Q, I don't know who else came up with this idea, but to host a Derby party. And I've always understood what Derby, what it was all about, horses and all this other stuff. I've gone to a lot of parties, but I never paid attention to the screen to actually watch the race. And Q was like, brother, you need to get out a little bit more. And I'm like, but we will continue celebrating this, and Aaron is going to provide some more feedback and background story. Can y'all give it up for our PC brothers?
Yeah.
No, we were gonna hold on that. We were gonna hold on the video. I'm gonna toss to the video. I just wanted to give some background real quick. So about 2 years ago, March 2021, Q and I both crossed to become brothers of Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated within the Beta Sigma Lambda chapter, along with our line brothers, Rogue Nine of Ra. And immediately after crossing, we were ready to, begin doing the work of Alpha, because we gotta do the work. You gotta do programs and fundraise and do all the things and follow in Brother McGee's footsteps. But while trying to come up with what was going to be our first signature event, as Brandon pointed out, Q's idea was to have the Kentucky Derby Day fundraiser. Now remember, we just crossed. It was March, maybe a week later, into April. Derby Day is always the first Saturday of May. We're going to host a Derby Day fundraiser in 6 weeks. When people questioned whether we could pull that off, whether it was internally or the rest of the brothers and chapters, Q would just say, yeah, we can do it. Or what is Kentucky Derby Day? He described the extravagant outfits, the colors, the patterns, women in dresses and hats, men in suits, Q's favorite kind of event. We probably got some questions or questionable looks at our first chapter meeting when we announced our idea, but we were committed to executing the vision. We set an ambitious target of ticket sales. Q found the venue in Middletown. A flyer was generated, and we were off and running. Ticket sales went live, and within 4 weeks, we hit our target goal of 150 tickets sold out event. So that's all based on Q's vision and passion and just knowing that we can get the job done and that we were right there by his side. So now we can go to the video to give you a little bit of a little background.
Yeah. Baby, they in full effect. Baby, they in full effect.
Clearly, Q had a great time. Rave reviews from everyone. Everyone in attendance, great vibe, great music. We all had a great time. He was in his element, as you can see. He was amongst his PC brothers. He was amongst his Alpha brothers. He was in Middletown. It was so great that it was the largest fundraiser in the history of the chapter for the Educational Foundation. Q and I knew the vision from the beginning. We started calling it the first annual Derby Day fundraiser even before we actually hosted the event. Last year, we continued that vision, 200 tickets sold, increased over our first year in fundraising efforts. So as Brandon said, we are talking about the call to action or Q's legacy and how we're going to continue on delivering on Q's legacy. I want to ask you all to save the date. Brandon sent you to the program digitally. You can open up a different browser on your phone or your tablet. You can go to bslalphas.com, bslalphas.com/events, or you can follow the BSL Alphas on Facebook or Instagram. And we want to announce that the upcoming third year, we'll be hosting the Q Williams Kentucky Derby Day fundraiser, May 6, 2023 at 4 p.m. While we've had a tragedy and a time of stress and we've been sad, we've been hard at work. We're working to soon, Brother Tyron up in the booth, we're locking in our venue. We're really excited about this year coming up, that it'll be bigger and better than ever. In Q's name. But the most important thing is that proceeds from the event will not only go to support the foundation's programs, but it will support the creation of the Brother Quentin Soldier Williams Memorial Scholarship for prospective students pursuing careers in public policy. So thank you, and we look forward to seeing you there. Thank you.
All right. Just one other thing before we go, and I'm going to turn around and tell you, brothers, we've got to figure out how to keep this momentum going between the two groups because Q loved all of us, and he made us feel like we were special, so I don't know who really special or not. But it shows the breadth of who he is to us. And so let's keep moving and let's figure out how to continue his legacy together. All right? All right. Thank you, brothers. So I'm going to switch a couple things. Y'all can sit down now. We're done with y'all. We're going to actually end with our musical selection by Nikita Waller. But I do want to say this on behalf of Dr. Carissa Williams and the entire Williams family. Aside from Bryant University, Beta Sigma Lambda Education Foundation, and all of the resources we will raise to support our initiatives, there is an overall goal to raise funds to support Q's legacy. And I'm encouraging each and every one of you not only to just share your memory about Q, because we want you to do that. RememberingQ.com, remember that. And go on and share your stories. But there will also be an opportunity for each and every one of you and your networks to help us raise $2 million to support all of his efforts, and you can find out ways to support that by giving at RememberingQ.com. $2 million is really not a lot of money. I'm just saying. That's light work. But what we do know is beyond this space where we are in the state of Connecticut, Q touched lives throughout this country. And so if you can't give, share with someone else who's able to give. RememberingQ.com. And lastly, and Nikita, you can make your way. I think, Dr. Bailey, we do have a presentation. Can y'all do me a favor and give it up for Dr. Carissa Williams? Can y'all do that for me? There you go. There you go. And while you're clapping, give it up for his mother, Queen Esther Williams, as well.
Please take your seats quickly. We're getting ready to make a brief presentation. Quentin was special to me because my brother was his line brother, and we're in two different organizations. He's in Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated, and I'm in Phi Beta Sigma Fraternity Incorporated. Two different organizations, but when I saw Quentin last, we greeted each other, and I gave him my saying that I say to everybody, but I meant it to Quentin, and he didn't know I meant it. He said, "Hey man, how you doing?" And I said, "When I grow up, I want to be just like you." There was something beautiful about Quentin. He's a passionate man, and he showed compassion, and he was generous. Whenever we had our events, we both had this network where we would support one another because we were looking at the bigger picture of throughout our organization's brotherhood, looking at the importance of education, and we're looking at the importance of making a difference in our communities. So when I think about Quentin, that's what we think about. So on behalf of my organization, we have an artist, and we wanted to present Dr. Williams with this gift to let you know that we love you. All of D9 loves you. Yes. We would like to present you by my very own frat brother, Brother Chris Bitterini, a portrait that we pray will be a blessing to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Hello. Thank you for allowing me to share this moment with you, Mother Queen and Miss Carissa. I wrote this song. I only did a verse and a chorus, but it kind of inspired me after being in that room on January 4th. And I hope you all enjoy it, and then I'm going to do this other song. So, ready, sir? You can turn it up. You can turn it up. Yeah. Your smile, your style, your grace, a laugh we can't forget, a heart as pure as gold, a story that we all know, the day that we all met, the day we can't forget. A state is feeling so cold, 'cause your soul is gone. Didn't know the day or the time things would change. Didn't know how to take it. It seemed so strange, but he did it all for C. He did it all for Queen, and his life won't be in vain for all the love he gave. He did it all for C. He did it all for Queen, and his life won't be in vain. I could hear him say his name. Quentin. I am. Thank you. And because he was all about change and moving forward, I hope this song is appropriate. It's coming. Patience. You got it? There you go. I was born by the river in a little tent. Oh, and just like that river, I've been running ever since. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. It's been too hard to live, and I'm afraid to die. We don't know what's out there beyond the skies. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. I go to the movies and I go downtown. You know how it be. Some folks don't want you around. It's been a long time coming, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will. Then I go to my brother. Oh, and I say, Quentin, help us please, help us please. And oh, he keeps doing, oh, he is keeping us on our feet. Oh, there's been times I thought I couldn't make it. I was afraid to go on, but you know we gotta push on. It's been a long time coming, Caress and Queen, but I know a change gonna come. Oh, yes it will.
All right, that concludes our program. Again, rememberingq.com. Can y'all say it with me? There you go. Now, at this time, before you leave, I want you to tell those same neighbors that you spoke to when we started, I want you to tell them it was so good to see you. You all be blessed.